with Erick Acosta. We've been doing some private sessions down on my basement mats since our jiu-jitsu studio closed. And I just wanted to kind of pick his brain and see what he's thought of grappling so far and wrestling. So, Erick, I'll start with the first question. What has grappling done for your life?
It's taught me patience and humility because this is a sport where you just can't pick everything up in one day. It is the most physically tasking thing I've ever done. I did play football and played other little sports growing up, but just the conditioning wise, it's humbling. We'll just say that. Like I said, I could just see why when people say there's no such shape as wrestling shape, I can kind of see why, or grappling shape, I can see why now a little bit. And I'm not even close to there. I'm just saying for reference.
What brought you to wrestling and grappling?
The great, as you can imagine, as you might not be able to guess by looking at me, I'm kind of a nerd. It was UFC 5, the video game. And yes, just seeing how you could pick people up, slam them, submit them, via rear naked choke, Darce choke, whatever the choke may be. That's basically what got me to it. And I kind of did some more homework. Like I watched like Joe Rogan, I watched like some people online, and they always said kind of the grappling is the good base. One day maybe I might do striking, but honestly just the idea of getting punched in the face is not against it, but I could see that being more painful. So I'll stick with the grappling for now.
Awesome. And then how long has it been
I want to
since you started?
I started, I want to say, it was either late October, early November. I started doing jiu-jitsu privates with Levi, who was the owner of the gym that we used to train at, called Theory Jiu-Jitsu, which hopefully will reopen soon. Started there, I want to say it was late October, early November. Then about mid-November is when I started working specifically with you just on the wrestling portion, and kind of been working together for the most part, I want to say almost weekly since then. Obviously holidays came up, but we've been pretty much doing something at least once weekly since then.
Yep. Obviously, wrestling can be a little more intense than jiu-jitsu, and they each have their pros and cons when it comes to actually putting them together and, taking advantage of one versus the other. What have you learned specifically from wrestling?
I would say the wrestling is patience, like learning how to control your opponent, really try to and obviously I'm working on this big time, and obviously I'm mainly working with Jordan, so if I can kind of get it on him, I'll be a little bit better than, not better, but more of an advantage on most people because he was a former Division I wrestler, so he knows kind of body control a lot better. Like just learning when to shoot for a double leg, shoot for a single, really learning the body control. I'd say that's what wrestling's done. And like I said, I think the conditioning, I do feel like I'm in better cardio shape since doing this. We've been doing it twice a week the last couple of weeks, but I feel a big difference, especially even when I'm lifting. I feel like I'm able to recover faster in between sets.
Yep.
So overall, just good health, I would say, for my heart.
Obviously, there's a lot of takedowns in wrestling. There's single legs, double legs, body locks. There's the small things like hand fighting, snap downs, things like that.
Yep.
What do you think has been the most important foundational, fundamental, basic thing you've learned in wrestling that's given you the most confidence on your feet?
I would say personally, and it's the one I would actually say I need to work on the most, but if you can get good at it, hand fighting. Really learning how to keep your opponent off balance. Don't be afraid to mix it up. I still need to do that. There are times where kind of when fatigue will kick in, but I need to learn to just keep mixing it up and really throwing your opponent off guard, because sometimes, I get in my head, I want to go for this single, but it's not really there where I could go for a pinch headlock, or maybe a double's there, but I don't take it, even though it might be literally right there. I need to learn to hand fighting and taking what's there. Don't necessarily force it. So be more open-minded when you're on your feet, the possibilities.
I think that's great advice. It's if you can't hand fight, you can't create opportunities to even get to the legs. So it's like, why learn the single leg, the double leg, and all that stuff if you can't even create the openings to get there? So completely agree. And then my last question for you is, obviously it can be a little daunting to go to a jiu-jitsu gym or go to start wrestling because it is a more intense sport compared to something like playing baseball, or,
Yep.
You kind of hinted at it with the cardio piece and how much it takes out of you. What advice would you give to folks who are watching who want to get into grappling and wrestling, but are just a little scared to do it?
I would say, obviously this might come different for certain people, but like, I would say obviously find a group of people that you can kind of relate to. I would say, obviously when I was looking for a place to start training, I had at least one thing in mind. I wanted no gi, which is kind of the more, it's not quite the norm yet, but it's coming more popular now. And so I was looking online, and Theory is the place where it was all no gi. And so I went there, worked with Levi, started working with you, then actually met some people when I went to an open mat, went to 2 open mats. And yeah, I mean, just, like I said, it's going to you might not know right away, but you got to give a place a chance too, because maybe some people don't make a good first impression, but really ask good questions, really research, or kind of, again, I really look into what you're looking for in a gym, and sometimes the website might have those questions on there, so kind of do your homework, I would say, and like I said, just give people a chance, and like I said, if you get beat up the first day, or you don't feel great on the first day, hey, it's going to happen. Like I said, I still come in here, I've been doing this a little bit more weekly, like we said, and there's days where I still am like winded after like 3 minutes, so, but you got to keep going, so that's all it is. Just consistency. Remember that. Consistency.
Keep in mind, folks, Erick, he comes straight from work. He works overnight, and then we start to work out here at 6 a.m. So I would be winded too if I did that all the time. So this guy's really committed. He's very consistent. And I don't know many folks who are determined to get wrestling in as much as Erick. So, Erick, thank you so much.
Yep. And I just want to say one last thing. You said consistency. I call it either discipline or stupidity, whichever one you want to use. So
you always got to mix in
stubbornness. Maybe that's a better word. So.
I think it's persistence, stubbornness, and there's always a little stupidity in there, right?
And passion. We got to throw in that word, right? Otherwise, why am I here, right? No, I'm just kidding. No. But no, thank you, Jordan.
Yeah.
Just like I said, this guy's the man. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, and like I said, definitely great content online with this guy.
Awesome.
So,
Thanks,
you,
Erick.
sir. No problem.